So first of all, I just wanted to add a quick story from the last segment that we were talking about. The Meister of Nosson says, how do you take? Someone asked, how do you find? You need Pesach was like very hard. Matzahs were very expensive, and people didn't have money for anything. It was very, very difficult. So how do I find? How do you find the resources for Pesach to get through Pesach? And it's like you'll find the resources for Pesach. The physical resources, no problem. Gosh, but how do you bring in the or of Pesach? That's the problem. So again, that Tzaddok we just learned is a good way. Like it really, you have to prepare, and you have these different stepping stones. Rosh Chodesh, Yud Nisan, Leil Seder, right? Aleph, K, Yud, K, right? Leil Seder, and then Shvisha Pesach. So that, it's very. What are they, and how are they, and where are you going? What are you doing? It's very, very, very helpful, I think. To you can really use it as a stepping stone for Avoda. Now, the Tzaddok himself, you ask who the Tzaddok was. The Tzaddok was a tremendous Gaon. He was he really knew his stuff. He was from I think Bar Mitzvah, he decided he wasn't going to eat anything except for a Sudas Mitzvah during the week. By day, I guess by night he was allowed to eat. But by day, he would also what he was doing that for was because he wanted to galvanize himself to push himself because he knew he was very brilliant, and he wanted to push himself to learn. He wanted to push himself to learn every day a Masechta and make a siyum, at least a little one.
In Gemara or
Yeah,
Mishnayos?
Gemara. So yeah, so when he was older, when he was older already, he was after Shabbos, he just couldn't get himself to learn Masechta. He just didn't have koach. And someone saw him like, how are you not telling you every day you made a siyum? So he asked us, I have a siyum, I'm just about finished, I can make a siyum for you. He said, wow, that's amazing, great, okay, good, very good, and that's fine. So the guys are about to make a siyum, whatever, and then he starts talking to me about it, and he sees, his mastery of the Masechta is, it's okay, it's not Tzadok's mastery of the Masechta. So he said, thank you for trying. He said, but since I've always made a siyum be'iyun, I'm afraid that maybe I meant to make a siyum at least with toasters, really good, the Gemara, but maybe that's not a siyum that I meant. I meant, so I call this mitzvah from my kilu. I'm afraid.
You made a siyum on Gemara, Rashi, Tosfos every single day?
Yeah.
How is that even humanly possible?
Because he knew, that's not a kasha. The kasha is on the Rebbe of Bells. The Rebbe of Bells, around the bells, it would take every day out of Maseches Brachos, and we just flip through it, and it was done. That was every 2 minutes he did the whole thing.
Did it with Havana or
yes.
reading
yes. No. He did it with Havana. And he did the same thing with the tour. He did the tour every month. Tu B'Shosef every month. Or Chaim at least, maybe the whole thing. I don't even know. Which is unbelievably long. He would just go and he knew it every word clear. Word for word.
I don't know. Like Rabbeinu though is like that, but how do other people do
it's
that?
It's easy how. He accessed the level of that's above nature. That's how. Very simple, not complicated. Again, I don't know how, that's the truth, but still, he was a person who was very, very high. So the Tzaddok, he was on the one hand, he was tremendously, tremendously, tremendously big. Tremendously, tremendously big. But he also had profound ability, very into looking for emes, Ishbis is kind of looking for emes, not, being real. And so Ishbis is very much into accessing the Or of Yediyah, which means that everything's from Hashem, what comes down with that Mizla Mice is not you can do whatever you want, it's from Hashem, Chas v'Shalom. It's not what anyone ever meant Neshvitz. And it's just revealing one side of the coin, the aspect of Yediyah. There's another aspect of Bechira, which is the Pshat, the Pashas, and never meant to take it out of it and leave it out of it. They're just revealing something else. You can always connect to Hashem no matter what. There's a level that is from Hashem, and just find that and access, and that's what they were. They were people on fire for Hashem. They took in Shabbos from the earliest second possible. They were preparing for from Chatzos. On Friday, and they stuck to it till virtually all the Shachar. They were done. They were on fire. They were, they were. It's such a people each bitch. Oh yeah, bopping around. Each bitch was a firebrand for Hashem. So one time someone came into him and he said, can I give you this gift? He gave him a big gift, and he said, I want to give you because the Gemara says Tam Chacham. You give a gift to Tam Chacham. He's like, brought Bikurim. So he got up at the next station. He's like, I don't know. People are talking to me. They can make they think I'm a Tam Chacham. Listen. He asked me if I can learn. I can learn. Yeah, I can learn. I know it. I learned. Well, I'm learning. He said, but that's not called that's not called Tam Chacham. No. Tam Chacham is more than just learning. There's a lot more things involved, components involved to being a Tam Chacham, and I'm afraid that I am not there. So I want you to know that's simply not true. Don't Tam Chacham. Yes, I'm not learned, but that's not called Tam Chacham.
This is when he's learning.
Yeah, he's talking.
the
No,
day
he's
already,
in
like,
the tish in front of everyone. He's like Tam Chacham not. Like don't that's not true. People are deluded if they think that I am a Tam Chacham. I'm learned, but that if you know Shas Apostle, that's not enough to make you Tam Chacham. There's levels. So he went in the other room and the guy was like, Rebbe, like in front of the whole tish. He's like, you don't understand. This guy came over. He gave me a gift. Tam Chacham, I feel like in the corner he doesn't know what Tam Chacham is. He's like, but in front of everyone, he's like, what do you want me to go to every yachid? Like, I have to, people should know. So I shouldn't tell, if I don't say it in rabbis, I have to go to each yachid and tell them. I can't, like, Mama says, he got married a second time. So he told the Kala, he's like, people are telling you I'm some sort of big, I don't know. He's like, that's not, you're marrying me like as a regular guy. I'm not, don't have any big expectations. I'm some tzaddik. It's all lies. It's all like, that's not, in order to be any mistake in the Kedushin. Like, Shemamish was like, he's very, very, tremendously, very, very special person. He didn't say anything till very, very late. He was writing, but he eventually became a big rebbe. But he had his influence, Ishbitz in general as well, was influenced very much also from Breslev. There's a lot of pieces there that are very, very similar. And certainly Rav Tzadok, there's no question. There's dozens of places where he takes off from Likutei Halachos or brings a piece of Likutei Halachos without saying it. Undoubtedly. Without a sort, like, just, this is the way it is. And like, he goes his own way. It's a very beautiful, very powerful way, which, unbelievably wondrous. But there's tremendous similarities between him and Breslev. A lot of similarities. It's one of the reasons why I like to go with his Mahalach.
Does he bring the Rebbe or Rebbe Nosson at all?
Not
Beferos?
Not explicitly, because Rabbi Nachman said, don't bring me if it's going to confuse people, and it wouldn't confuse people. He's like, better. And like really Sefer Chassidim, what he says, Sefer Chassidim also says, it says, right, you have to bring, if you mention someone else, you bring Geula to the world, you say it in the name of the person who said it, like Mordechai and Esther, right? Who said Mordechai, and then that was part of what brought the Geula. And that's only if it brings the Geula. If it's going to confuse the person or get them, they're not going to do it, they're not going to be able to connect to it. So he's like, don't sell it. Who do I care? You can serve Hashem in my power, with my teachings, and they don't know it, I don't really care. Like, that's really not like, you can tell, like, don't say anything. And that's definitely what Breslev did. So that was the hadracha. That's what we're not said to do. But there's no question that he had this farm, and he learned this farm, and knew this farm. He had copious notes on the Qumran that was lost. There was a fire that was destroyed. We have his notes on the Sefer Midos, going through sources. When they took it to write it up, he said, I need this book back. I don't want to be full day without the book. Just sit and copy it and bring it back to me today. He was really Sefer Midas. A day without Sefer Midas? No, I don't want to be a day without Sefer Midas. I need this in my house, where it belongs. That was his.
Where was he from?
I'm not 100% sure. Poland, I believe.
Yeah.
But eventually he became the but like he was a tremendous genius, tremendous Gaon, and no children, very, very sad story there, but tremendously great person, tremendously great on so many levels. So I really enjoy his teachings. I really feel like there's an advantage to them, because when you learn that he's really writing on the Chumash, and he's writing these Sfarim, very often he's going into it in a way that, Rav Nosson has beautiful things for the Chumash, but it's a little bit, it's organic, it's not really what he wrote on. We don't have a book from Nosson on the Chumash. If it had been a Chumash, it would have been a different story that he, is talking about. So Derech Agav, he says, and sometimes this is more, and sometimes this is less. So sometimes I feel like you can really get a lot of the concepts that we're talking about. It's like that piece we just did, right, on Rosh Chodesh, and he said, all of that is for sure, 100% the Torah of Rabbeinu, 1,000,000%. Right, connecting it as you can do it, you can get out of all these troubles, this is a very high time, and you're connecting to the oil of the Gula, and Nosson even said explicitly, he told someone, why are you sad? Just borrow joy for it. It's going to be fine. The Gula, so what's your problem? Like, just be happy now, borrow the joy. It has to do with your attitude. So you can always borrow and access and connect, and that's a tremendous thing. That's a little bit of introduction of Rav Tzadok, who he was, and what is Nosson. We're a little drop, and that's one of the reasons why I'd very much like to learn him, because he gives over the passion of very, very profound people. And another, of course, he's going up that result always, as always. Really, really, very, very much so. Very much so about what's happening and how it's happening. Like all those things that we learned really is up here what he says. Right? Rosh Chodesh says one Bechina, and then you have the Bechina of the Yud, the Bechina of the Hillel Seder. It all works exactly right in the Ri as well, because he's very much going on the Ri, like all Chassidish farm, pretty much. And That's one of the reasons why we like to learn specifically his sefer. Kamarna, like I was saying, Kamarna also, I was happy to see Meir writes in one of his letters to someone that Kamarna, very often there's many, many similarities between Kamarna and Breslov. There's something similar about it. And again, that's the reason why we do Dafka Kamarna as well, because there is a lot of similarity there as well, even though it's not the same, but there's something to it that's very, very similar. I definitely see it and always felt it. And it's very, very beautiful things, very, very, very special things. And one of the things that Kamarna does is he brings the very Morishter likes to say that the Kamarna brings Chassidus closer to the Ari. So that's something we're trying to do, because the more connected you are to the Ari, the more you're accessing an illumination on a totally different level. What's really going on. And it's very sad to me, I feel very sad about all these people who are having such a hard struggle with life, There's so much available now. There's so many deep thinkers now that are available. Deep thinkers from all over. And people are very confused. You can listen all day long, to thinkers and more thinkers and more thinkers. These people, some people, they believe in who knows what. And they're so confused. It's like they don't realize that there's a deeper component to the Torah. And it's it's a big disservice to children if they don't understand that the Torah is tremendously deep. And you're not going to just, as you learn Gemara, you don't really know what's going on. And if you don't understand that, you're missing something that's essential. But that's not what you see, what you get at all. Not at all. The Kabbalah, that Ri, and all these things are revealing totally different layers of what's going on. And when you have these sophisticated questions on the Nikra, when you have sophisticated questions on the mitzvahs, you have to understand that there's a totally different level, there's a different component here, it's something else entirely. It's not what you think, it's not what you see, it's what you get at all. At all. The Torah doesn't stand at all without oral Torah. It doesn't stand. It doesn't make any sense without oral Torah. At all, you can't do it without oral Torah. And what's really going on is much, much, much deeper things. And the more a person understands it, the more he gets a basic feel. Here, I'll give you an example. The Ri says that, the Mishnah Rabba says, you don't know what the schar of mitzvahs are. So maybe you do it's mechamo. You can't decide this is stringent. This is an important mitzvah. I'll do that. This one's less important. I won't do that. You can't do that. You have to. You don't know the schar of mitzvahs, right? That's what says numbers. We don't know the schar of mitzvahs, so why not? You know what's more important in terms of, there's some things that are more important. We do have some rules. So you can say, well, it means when you're not sure. It means. You can say whatever you say, but like the Ri says something very, very beautiful. The Ri says, you might be here to do this other mitzvah that seems to be very simple. But that's your purpose. So if you drop that, you totally dropped the ball. Like, yeah, you did everything else, but what's your problem, dude? You had it. Oh, I figured that wasn't that important. Oh, that's nice. That was your purpose. Like, go back again and chaval. It's a totally different level. It's not that. So when you learn that, you analyze it. What do you mean? You do know. You don't know. No. There's something else. This means something else entirely. That's not what it means. And like, what's very, very sad is that the people are coming and they're saying, this is what it means. They're looking up this, it's like a kind of straw man, because the way they're learning the Torah, the way they're learning the Bible, what they call it, the way they're learning, that's not how anybody learned it. That's not how anybody learns it. So people make these decisions, and their decisions are, I'll give you one simple example, like really quickly. In Vayikra we find very serious punishment for various things. Some of the things seem to be like, okay, he did this, she did that, like, okay, is it really deserving of such a terrible punishment? And the answer is no. No, definitely not. That is not a punishment. And that's not even a pida re. That's very simple. The punishment is to deter other people. If he does tshuva, then no problem. There's something called the bezin shel mata. There's something called it arouses judgments. And part of why it arouses judgments is because other people are prone to follow the person. That's why the obligation doesn't happen unless it's done publicly. Instead of two witnesses that warn the person and they don't back down, they don't stand down. Generally, except idolatry is a special thing. That's also because it's very pernicious. But generally speaking, you have these two. There has to be two witnesses. It's public. It's not. You ask it. By the way, this is not allowed. It's something that's very hard to figure out when would ever happen. That's why the Gemara is disputed. It could be 1 in 70 years, 1 in 7 years, whatever it is. There was a capital case, when the Gemara says when there was many capital cases, they stopped capital punishment. What do you mean? He deserves death. He's like the Muslim countries. He deserves to be thrown off the building. That's the proper treatment. That's not the pshat. I'm sure that they got their punishment from us, but that's not what it means, though. They just learn without any oral Torah, so they have no idea what they're reading. I have no idea what they're reading. So it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, no, you have no idea. That is not the punishment. That is a deterrent, and that's what happens. And sometimes you do a deterrent, sometimes you don't. And also based on deeper realities, why something's yes and why something's no. But like the bottom line is, you don't just kill. We're not trying to kill people. So you deserve the death penalty. You get a death penalty. Totally not true. That's not what the Bible says. That's the thing. We don't see the Bible. That's not even in Nigel. You don't even know the read. They read Kolschkin. Larry explains that yes, it does certain things cognitively that messes up. So then, when it's going to deter people, you have to there's an execution you need to do. If it's a situation where he did it publicly, did what he was did things in a way with two witnesses that warned him and he ignored them, and did it anyway, which we can't imagine someone doing. That's a very essential difference. People don't even get this. They're like, oh, the Torah is very barbaric. It's not at all barbaric. The Baruch Shalom told us what he told us and said what he said. It's very not simple to work out. Like, what's really happening there, what it really means. There are many, many layers. It's not a simple thing. It's not what you see is what you get at all. That's not what it is. It's something very profound, very deep, and it's just a disservice for all these kids and all these people who are hearing things, learning things, and like that you are learning about. That is not the Torah. It's like Rabbi Nachman says. Like if I was like they say, then of course you have to completely argue on it, like completely go after me. Like, of course they're right, but that's not true though. It's totally not true. It's the same thing. You have the Bible, they put up this thing. It's like, that's not true though. It's not true. And the Medrash says the reason why there's no Torah is because the Goyim are going to take over. And yeah, you guys are not supposed to have the Goyim are not supposed to have the, no, it's not supposed to be so successful in what's going on over there. So there's no idea.
There's this big TV guy in America, Bill Maher.
Huh?
He's like very controversial guy or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So he's very anti-religious.
Okay.
He's halakhically Jewish. His mom is Jewish.
Okay, good.
She's married to Shaggett, but he grew up Christian.
Okay.
And decided he didn't believe in any of it, dropped it and everything. So he's very anti-religious. I was talking to a friend once who was like criticizing him that he's like, anti-Bible and this and that. And but I'm like, can you really blame the guy? Because he didn't grow up with Torah. Even though he's Jewish, he doesn't even realize he's Jewish. He grew up thinking he's a Christian. And I said, like, if you grew up learning the way they do, like, any person with any sechel would, like, think it's a joke.
Absolutely.
Like, he was just he was, like, intellectually honest. Like, if you don't have Torah Shabbal Pei to explain it, so it sounds like the stupidest thing in the world.
But even more than that, it doesn't make any sense. You can't do it. I don't even know if there's a book. I'm not educated enough to know. But I'd be curious, is there any book that's supposed to be a guide for a regular person that doesn't tell you what to do? Is there any book like that? I haven't found a book like that. I don't, I'm sure there's a shechita that says, do shechita like I commanded you. It doesn't say anywhere what to do. So missing verses as if, what? But how do you do shechita? Like, can you imagine someone, like, the whole authority of the Torah, even the people who dropped the oral law, like, they dropped the Torah Shabbal Pei, they did that because the Torah was already, everyone knew was true. But to get people to, okay, this is your book, it's going to guide you. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. and then it gives you instructions that are crazy. Crazy. You have an agricultural society, don't plant there once in 7 years. You have to be crazy to do that. And then you say, and what if you don't have food? You say, well, life is about suffering. You can just imagine this Indian, life is about suffering. No. You'll have blessings. Like, what are you joking? Are you crazy? Either you're crazy or you're a god. One or the other. You can't say that without being mishuggah. You have to be, like, committable. Like, completely crazy. Don't plant. Can you imagine people like, you're not a plant? Why would you do? What gave you that idea? Go to the base of Midrash. Everything will be fine. Don't worry about your houses. Like, what are you? These are primitives. They're going to kill you. They're going to burn your stuff, make your stuff. And they just couldn't do it somehow. And then people are pretty, like Dr. Kelm says, and this is with the Kuzari. He's like, people are pretty open about, we find when there's a problem, we know about it. We never heard anyone, like, there was a problem, Shemitah, they kept Shemitah and they didn't have a bracha. They had a bracha. Always. The problem was they weren't keeping it. Which is, like, crazy. It's unbelievable. And then there's a time, every 50 years, you don't plant for 2 years? How are you going to live? Oh, you'll be rich. Like, what do you mean? How do you, like, people were, you have a field. The Gemara says, sell anything, get a field. You need to have food. And it's like, yeah, it'll be fine. It's like unbelievable. And that's part of the divine mandate of the Torah. Is like, Hashem says, do this, and it'll be fine. And that's something which, if a person was fabricating a book, he has to be crazy to put it. And there's no such thing. And I don't even think that for sure there's no such thing. But even I don't believe that there's a guidebook that's not for some esoteric little body of people. It doesn't tell you what to do. You got to figure it out, puzzle it out. It's for every 5-year-old. What do? I have no idea. So again, part of it because it was given with an oral Torah. So that's the whole point. That's the thing. That's why all these things are so sad, because they have all these big titles, they have all these claims, and it doesn't make any sense. It's immoral. It's barbaric. No, the Torah you're learning is not how we learn ever, and certainly not what's really going on. You have no idea. So you're talking about something which you just don't know what it is. It's a very hidden thing. So it's something I just wanted to address. Okay.